Oh mon Dieu!
Watching explosions can be captivating, yet they pose inherent dangers, causing destruction and proving lethal, whether they occur naturally or result from artificial causes. These events often lead to the loss of lives or property. Here, we present a compilation of the most significant and biggest explosions captured on camera. And stick around until the end because you don't want to miss out on that footage. Making a mistake is one thing, but when it involves explosives, the consequences can be fatal. In the Mexican city of Tultepec, known as the self-proclaimed firework capital of Mexico, the tragic incident occurred on December 20th, 2016. At the San Pablito market, gunpowder from open-air fireworks ignited, setting off a chain reaction of continuous explosions. The people of Tultepec have been engaged in fireworks production for over 200 years, and on that fateful day, around 300 tons of pyrotechnics went off simultaneously. The devastating event claimed the lives of 40 people at the market, with over 80 others sustaining injuries. The massive chain of explosions decimated the entire market, reducing it mostly to ashes. Years later, after meticulous reconstruction, local officials of the Mexican government asserted that sellers committed to proper handling procedures and improved storage practices. However, the uncertainty lingers, leaving the question of whether such a tragedy could occur again. The Trinity nuclear test marked a historic milestone as the inaugural detonation of a nuclear weapon by the United States Army during the Manhattan Project in World War II. Executed in Jornada del Muerto Desert, approximately 35 miles southeast of Socorro, New Mexico, the test aimed to validate the bomb's design and evaluate its destructive potential. Placed atop a 30-meter tower, the gadget, as the bomb was named, unleashed 25 kilotons of TNT energy, surpassing the power of the Hiroshima bomb. Observed by scientists and engineers from a safe distance, the detonation manifested in a blinding flash, and a shockwave felt over 160 kilometers away. The resulting mushroom cloud soared to 12 kilometers, surpassing Mount Everest, while the intense heat transformed sand and rocks into trinities. This glass-like substance, along with a memorial, still marks the site where the Trinity test unfolded. These sailors actively participated in the Bikini Atoll nuclear bomb experiment during Operation Crossroads, a program designed to test Navy vessels against nuclear attacks. On July 25, 1946, the U.S. military conducted an unprecedented underwater nuclear test, detonating a bomb 90 feet below the Bikini Atoll lagoon. The 3-kiloton explosion produced a massive gas bubble that consumed everything in its path at the lagoon's bottom. Above water, it carved a 30-foot deep, 2,000-foot wide crater on the seafloor. The explosion then burst and shot up as a colossal geyser, forming an enormous dome of water over a mile in height, surpassing the combined height of the Burj Khalifa and the Shanghai Tower. The impact extended further, triggering a 94-foot-high tsunami that lifted the 27,000-ton USS Arkansas battleship and sank over 8 ships, spreading radioactivity to surrounding vessels. Despite the devastation, the U.S. military, astonished by the results, expressed eagerness for further testing. Tianjin, a prominent Chinese port, boasts of being one of the largest in the country. Ruhai International Logistics, the company owning a warehouse at the port, is known to store and distribute hazardous goods, totaling a staggering 1 million tons annually. On the night of August 2, 2015, the city witnessed a series of massive explosions in the warehouse, causing a significant number of casualties. The blasts, believed to be triggered by volatile chemicals stored on site, prompted President Xi Jinping to order an investigation. Over 200 experts in nuclear and biochemical materials were summoned to manage the crisis. Rescue operations were temporarily halted to assess the contamination of the surrounding area. While the cause of the explosions remains unknown initially, an investigation concluded in February 2016 that an overheated container of dry nitrocellulose was the root cause. The official casualty report documented 173 deaths, 8 missing individuals, and 798 non-fatal injuries, with 104 of the fatalities being firefighters. Improper storage of 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate in a port warehouse sparked a devastating fire at Beirut Port in August 2020, culminating in a catastrophic explosion. This lethal chemical had arrived in Beirut aboard a ship named Roses, originally en route from Georgia to Mozambique in 2013. Technical difficulties forced Roses to dock in Beirut, where Lebanese authorities impounded the vessel for unpaid port fees. Despite multiple safety warnings over the years, high-level officials neglected to address the issue. The resulting powerful blast obliterated 77,000 apartments, inflicting injuries on 7,000 individuals, displaced over 300,000 more, and rendered at least 80,000 children homeless. Steam boilers, essential for generating steam by heating water through fuel, find widespread use in industrial and commercial settings. However, improper maintenance or operation can make them susceptible to explosions, leading to catastrophic outcomes. A notable incident occurred in early 2012 when a traditional fire tube steam boiler exploded, causing extensive damage to a warehouse. In a video taken just before the explosion at 1:50 p.m., the last worker is seen leaving the room. Moments later, the boiler erupts, obscuring the camera with the force of the blast. Subsequent images reveal a significant hole blown into the building, highlighting the immense power required to tear apart metal. The boiler itself was propelled about 30 meters away, landing in a different section of the factory. Investigation attributed the explosion to factors like corrosion and inadequate maintenance of safety valves. It's worth emphasizing that such incidents are preventable with Clayton steam generators, which boast a unique design ensuring safe and efficient operation without the risk of explosion. On the fateful evening of July 6, 1988, tragedy struck the Piper Alpha platform in the North Sea. A sequence of explosions, triggered by a condensate pump failure, engulfed the offshore oil rig in flames. Over the ensuing hours, most topside modules succumbed to the inferno, collapsing into the sea. The catastrophe claimed the lives of 167 men, leaving numerous others injured and traumatized. The grim event, the world's largest offshore oil disaster, not only resulted in a 10% reduction in UK oil production, but also incurred staggering financial losses estimated at £2 billion, equivalent to $5 billion today. Ruptured pipelines, gas compressors stripping, and a relentless series of explosions marked the horrific chain of events, with flames reaching heights of 200 meters. The casualties faced death through smoke inhalation, drowning, or severe injuries, while the remains of 30 individuals were never recovered, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of industrial calamities. On May 16, 1958, the U.S. military executed a nuclear experiment named Wahoo. The detonation occurred in the open ocean near Eniwetok Atoll in the Marshall Islands. According to the Nuclear Weapons Archive, the Wahoo device was exploded 500 feet deep in 3,200 feet of water. The Mark 7, as described by the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force, was a tactical nuclear weapon developed in 1952 for use by various fighter and bomber aircraft, including the F-84 Thunderjet, F-100 Super Sabre, F-101 Voodoo, and B-57 to target enemy ground forces. Navy aircraft such as the A-1 Sky Raider, A-3 Sky Warrior, F-2H Banshee, F-3H-2N Demon, and FJ-4B Fury were also capable of carrying the Mark 7. The bomb had a yield of 9 kilotons of energy. Within a second of detonation, a spray dome emerged, reaching a height of 840 feet, 260 meters. After 7 seconds, plumes broke through the spray dome in all directions, and by the 22nd second, the diameter of the spray dome was approximately 3,800 feet. On April 17, 2013, a fire erupted at the West Fertilizer Company, escalating into a devastating ammonium nitrate explosion. The facility exploded a mere 20 minutes after the fire was reported to emergency dispatchers in West, a small town where the facility was located. The impact on the town was both emotional and physical. In the aftermath, the city received support from compassionate individuals and neighboring communities. The explosion resulted in the tragic loss of 15 lives, including 12 first responders, and left over 160 people with various degrees of injuries. More than 500 buildings were wrecked in the catastrophe, occurring shortly after the Boston Marathon bombing. Some initially suspected terrorism due to the blast severity. The West community rallied together, with residents donating food supplies and blood to aid survivors. Over $290,000 in relief funds were raised, and a vigil was held to pray for those affected. The explosion garnered national attention, with then President Barack Obama attending a memorial service to honor the victims. On July 6, 2013, the tranquil town of Lac-Mégantic in Canada faced an unimaginable catastrophe that defied any safety precautions its residents might have taken. In the dead of night, around 1 a.m., a deafening blast shattered the calm, signaling the awakening of a monstrous fire. A colossal fireball, 3 times the height of the tallest buildings, engulfed the streets, radiating intense heat for kilometers. Panic ensued as people leaped from windows in a desperate attempt to escape. The horror escalated when the fire monster delved into the town's sewers, unleashing pillars of fire through storm drains, painting an apocalyptic scene. Firefighters battled the inferno 20 hours later, replacing each other every 15 minutes due to the overwhelming heat and toxic fumes. The aftermath revealed a grim reality. 47 locals perished. The city center lay in ruins. The genesis of this calamity traced back to a freight train with mechanical issues, patched with subpar material, causing oil accumulation and eventual combustion. The tragic incident left Loch Megantic scarred, reminding us that even accidental explosions can hold those accountable who inadvertently set them in motion. In the exhilarating summer of 1969, the global space race reached a pivotal moment. The United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a fierce competition for outer space dominance, particularly the coveted achievement of landing a man on the moon. The turning point came on July 3rd, when a colossal explosion on a Soviet launch pad shifted the balance in favor of the Americans. The Soviets were testing their N-1 moon rocket, equivalent to NASA's Saturn V. Despite 5 failed attempts by the Soviets to launch the N-1, the second try proved catastrophic. Lasting mere seconds, the N-1's second flight ended in a nuclear-level explosion, propelling rocket fragments over 6 miles and shattering windows within a 24-mile radius. Witnessing the devastation, Soviet Lieutenant Komarovsky hauntingly declared, "Today, I saw the end of the world, and not in a nightmare, but while fully awake and standing right next to it." In the harrowing era of nuclear brinkmanship between the United States and the Soviet Union, the battleground was a deadly competition to wield the most devastating force. As the Cold War unfolded, the focus shifted to thermonuclear weapons, where the United States honed precise delivery systems for smaller bombs, while the Soviet Union pursued colossal devices, epitomized by the creation of the Tsar Bomba. The monstrous 1961 detonation on an Arctic island was a chilling spectacle, measuring 26 feet in length, nearly 7 feet in diameter, and weighing a staggering 60,000 pounds. Its impact was so catastrophic that the bomber crew had only a 50% chance of survival. The explosion, 1,570 times more potent than Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined, cast a shadow of potential global catastrophe. Despite being detonated at a high altitude to mitigate fallout, the Tsar Bomba's aftermath caused severe damage to up to 150 miles away, shattering windows in Norway and Finland. The global outcry led figures like Andrei Sakharov, a key player in Soviet nuclear research, to advocate for restrictions on nuclear testing, recognizing the perilous precipice humanity teetered upon in the face of man-made cataclysm. On October 28, 2014, a routine rocket launch from a Virginia pad turned into a catastrophic event. The Antares rocket, developed by NASA for cargo transport to space, had a successful track record until their 5th launch. Loaded with 2,200 kilograms of cargo for scientific investigations and ISS supplies, the mission was meant to span a month. However, within 15 seconds, disaster struck. The seemingly successful liftoff quickly soured as the rocket lost control, descending uncontrollably due to first-stage propulsion failure. The resulting explosion reverberated for kilometers. NASA reported no pre-launch issues and no injuries, but the launch pad suffered significant damage, and the entire payload was lost. Investigators discovered a fault in the first-stage engine. A fuel leak triggered a fire, damaging crucial components, leading to engine shutdown and a loss of speed. The incident underscored the inherent risks in space exploration despite meticulous planning and precautions. Mount St. Helens had remained dormant since 1857, but on March 27, 1980, it experienced an explosive steam eruption, followed by intermittent minor explosions. The morning of May 18, 1980, marked a pivotal moment when a 5.1 magnitude earthquake triggered a massive landslide on the mountain's north face. This led to a scorching blast, reaching temperatures of 660 degrees Fahrenheit and speeds of approximately 300 miles per hour. Subsequently, floods, pyroclastic flows, and mud flows ensued, burying the surrounding rivers in layers of debris and mud. A vertical eruption of gas and ash occurred 16 miles away, causing ash falls as far east as central Montana. The catastrophic event claimed the lives of about 57 people and numerous animals, with the lateral blast toppling trees and obliterating hundreds of square miles. resulting in over $1 billion in damages. The May 18, 1980 eruption stands as the deadliest and economically most destructive volcanic event in the history of the United States. Interestingly, a film crew attempting to document the destruction found themselves disoriented as their compass spun in circles. Texas City, situated on the southwestern shore of Galveston Bay and located approximately 40 miles southeast of Houston, serves as a bustling deep-water port facilitating the entry of ships into the Gulf of Mexico. The city plays a pivotal role in Texas's petroleum refining and chemical manufacturing industries. However, its notoriety stems from a catastrophic incident on April 16, 1947, when a massive explosion devastated the entire port and nearly leveled the city. Two significant vessels, the SS Grand Camp and the SS High Flyer, were docked at the Texas City port, both carrying substantial amounts of ammonium nitrate, a common ingredient in high explosives. Despite the Grand Camp catching fire around 8 a.m., efforts to extinguish the flames with water were denied by the captain, fearing damage to the cargo. Instead, an attempt to smother the fire with steam worsened the situation. The subsequent explosion at 9 a.m. caused extensive damage, destroying nearly 1,000 buildings within a 2,000-foot radius. The disaster is considered one of the worst industrial accidents in U.S. history, with the cause of the initial fire still unknown, though some speculate it might have been triggered by a discarded cigarette. Amidst the Pacific theater of World War II, the United States transformed Port Chicago, a small Californian town situated approximately 30 miles north of San Francisco, into a fully operational munitions facility by the summer of 1944. During this time, Port Chicago was actively loading ships with munitions around the clock. Regrettably, the Navy assigned the perilous task of handling live explosives to untrained African American units. On July 17, 1944, after 4 days of loading, a total of 4,600 tons of live explosives were placed on the SS Quinault Victory and the SS E.A. Bryant, with an additional 400 tons waiting in nearby rail cars. Shortly after 10 p.m., a series of powerful explosions erupted, obliterating everything in the vicinity. The 5-kiloton blast was so forceful that its impact was felt in Nevada, causing minor damage in San Francisco. The smoke from the explosion reached almost 2 miles into the air, and a pilot flying at 9,000 feet reported witnessing metal fragments whizzing past him. According to the History Channel, the Port Chicago explosion accounted for 15% of all African American casualties in World War II, with 320 individuals on board the ships, including 202 African Americans, losing their lives in the devastating incident. Nuclear weapons evoke a profound sense of awe and fear, representing a colossal power capable of extinguishing life as we know it. A mere fraction of our existing nuclear arsenal could obliterate humanity, underscoring the immense, yet poorly comprehended, force at our disposal. Some conspiracy theorists even speculate that these weapons have attracted extraterrestrial interest in Earth, particularly during the period from 1945 to 1992, marked by 1,032 U.S. nuclear tests. Operation Hardtrack in 1958 saw 35 tests in the Pacific Proving Grounds, with one detonation, codenamed Juniper, later declassified. Nuclear blast videos share commonalities, soundless, commencing with a blinding white light. Witnesses often recall this light, succeeded by a formidable shockwave. Juniper, erupting on July 22, 1958, transformed a Pacific barge into a 40,000-foot mushroom cloud, embodying an explosive force equivalent to 65 kilotons of TNT, 65 tons detonating in a single cataclysmic event. Al-Mandina, also known as the Enlightened City, serves as the capital of Mandina province in Saudi Arabia, boasting a population of around 1.5 million residents, making it the 5th largest city in the country. On December 5, 2019, an ordinary day took a perilous turn for a few citizens at a local naphtha gas station. Unbeknownst to them, a hazardous situation was unfolding beneath their feet. As cars passed by on a seemingly typical Saudi Arabian afternoon, sudden bursts of fire erupted from the ground, sending covers soaring hundreds of feet into the air, causing the pavement to ripple as if a bomb had detonated below. Smoke engulfed the gas station, drifting across the street. Once the smoke cleared, the extent of the explosion's damage became evident. Surveillance footage captured people pumping gas moments before chaos erupted. A nearby parked car likely fell victim to the blast, prompting patrons to flee. Amid the commotion, a passenger leaped out, while the driver, still connected to the gas line, hastily drove away. Fortunately, no additional gas was released and, thankfully, no injuries were reported. The cause of the underground explosion remains uncertain. When it comes to proper battery disposal, especially concerning lithium-ion batteries, adherence to specific rules is crucial. Unlike lead-acid batteries, lithium-ion batteries cannot undergo the same recycling process without risking dire and hazardous outcomes. The lead-acid recycling method involves crushing the battery, but if a lithium-ion battery is subjected to the same process, it can explode under pressure, posing serious dangers. A visual demonstration illustrates the potential magnitude of such an explosion, emphasizing the risks involved. The video depicts the lead-acid battery recycling process with vigilant workers removing foreign objects from the conveyor belt. However, an unnoticed lithium-ion battery slips through, causing a sudden and explosive reaction. According to the EPA, lithium-ion batteries must never be discarded in household garbage. Instead, they require proper disposal at designated recycling sites or local hazardous waste collection areas to prevent environmental and safety hazards. Working in a foundry entails significant risks, especially when handling a wet charge. The intersection of water and molten metal can trigger explosive reactions, propelling hot metal in every direction. In late December 2019, a chilling incident unfolded in a factory where a forklift driver, unsuspecting, deposited scrap metal into a furnace. The result was a violent explosion, coating the forklift and factory floor with molten metal. Fortunately, everyone emerged unscathed, as the forklift driver skillfully reversed out of the building amid billowing smoke. A similar, albeit more intense, accident occurred at a steel mill in 2013, with all involved miraculously escaping harm. These incidents underscore the prevalent danger in foundries, emphasizing the utmost importance of adhering to stringent safety protocols to avert catastrophic consequences and ensure the well-being of workers. Such episodes necessitate extensive cleanup efforts, illustrating the imperative nature of maintaining safety measures in foundry environments. That wraps up today's video. If you liked what you saw and want more content similar to this, simply click the link currently displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching, and make sure to stay tuned for our next episode. Your continued support is greatly appreciated.